In its 1948 constitution, the World Health Organization outlined the definition of health as a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. This definition supported the idea that the biomedical model was insufficient in framing health. The traditional biomedical model can be said to have four stages: the normal state before the health condition, the entrance of the health condition leading to a disabled state, the medical intervention to rid an individual of the health condition, and the return to the normal state absent of the health condition or infirmity. Over the years, many scholars have proposed different ways of thinking about health outside the biomedical model. But why exactly is the biomedical model of health insufficient in helping us think about health? One way to think about it is to consider the case of individuals with congenital conditions whose original state is that of having an infirmity. While speaking to Jake, who we met in the first episode of this discussion, I hypothesized that for such individuals, health is defined as a result of religion, family, and physical and social experiences, and not by the absence of a health condition or infirmity. As such, they can think of themselves as healthy even when the health condition or infirmity is still present.
Hip dysplasia occurs during birth and is a condition when the hip doesn't develop properly because the hip is dislocated. In my case, the severity warranted surgery, which began yearly checkups to monitor the hip's development during my early years. From my hip dysplasia, I developed a curved spine due to my stance. I typically stood in a way to take the weight off my leg, and at the time I didn't really thought about it, but by standing that way I started to have pain in my right knee and my back as I grew older. My first realization of my health being different came during the beginning of my teenage years. Back pain and hip pain were frequent, and socially I became aware of my differences when I was teased at school for how I walk, being that I had a big sway and I had a hard time walking in a straight line. Even my posture was made fun of. Because of that, I began to alter my walk by limping and standing more straight than taking the weight off my leg. My first recollection of the symptoms of my condition was as early as 5 years old, though at the time I was completely unaware that the discomfort and pain was special to me. I did know of my condition then, however I never thought it made me less than others around me. There are different reactions over the years of my development. At the beginning, between the ages of 4 and 10, my reaction was that my experience wasn't special to me. I didn't see myself as unhealthy, just a kid who had surgery on his hip. As I approached puberty, things started to change that narrative for me. Around the ages of 12 and 13, I began to have severe back pain and knee pain. My reactions then was more of, is this normal? Are there anything I can do to remedy this? After I got to my later teens, my experience started to plateau. The severe pain was more rare, and the effects of my condition and the residual effects, i.e. back pain and knee pain, had become an everyday thing. From just a personal view of myself, I think of myself as unhealthy simply because living in pain isn't the ideal way to live. When I was more unaware to my condition, my father, who is a minister, sat me down to pray with me and made me confess every night that I had a hip just like Jesus. Maybe my more innocent mind could grasp the concept resulting in my view of myself as healthy. Consequently, a hip replacement I was supposed to have at age 16 wasn't needed due to a leg growing out to the same length as the other. To my dad and my family, that was a miracle for us. However, as I got older and the pain began to become essential to daily life, my outlook began to slowly change. There's not too many times where I go back and forth thinking I'm healthy or unhealthy. I typically feel more healthy when my body isn't subjected to labor that irritates the weak places, like my back, my knee, or my hip. So long months without a job, I feel more healthy from the standpoint that pain isn't part of my everyday life.
Jake does not fit into the traditional biomedical model that emphasizes on restoring an individual to a previous normal state after curing the health condition or infirmity. His ideas of his own health develop as a result of his experiences as he goes through different stages in life, even when his health condition and infirmity remains. This case becomes an example of why the biomedical model is insufficient in defining health. While it is not entirely erroneous, the move by other scholars to seek new ways of understanding health beyond this model is necessary in helping us frame cases such as these that cannot be understood through the biomedical model.